in this series that probably is going to be 3 or 4 live maximum. We are going to learn how to create Flutter application from the ground up, and this is targeting the beginners. Let's begin the project by creating our first project using Android Studio. First of all, we create new project. We choose the Flutter. Next, we give it a name. We say to do app. We can use underscore, and you can give the ID of your application. Mixon Solutions is our website, mixonsolutions.com. Always come first, and the last part, that whatever it is, ABC, that will come from your application. You can select the platform that you plan to deploy this application on. For this testing project, we are just going to use Android and iOS. Hello, welcome.lol. We are learning how to create Flutter application from ground up. Thank you for joining us. Hello, welcome, Uda. It takes a little bit of time until our project is welcome. This live we are learning how to create a Flutter project from beginning. This live is for the beginners. Welcome. Okay, our project is ready. The first initializing of the application usually takes time until the first step is built up, and the next time we start it will be more faster. Hello. Hi. Welcome. You can ask your question until this application is building. If you have any question, feel free to ask. I try my best to answer all your questions. In this, for new friends that just we are learning how to create Flutter application from ground up for the beginners. Come on, guys. Until this build is running, try to clean up our space a little bit by doing these commands. Nothing is. We are always waiting for this build to run up. emulate. For our new friends who just joined us, building Flutter application from ground up for the beginners. Welcome. Feel free to ask a question. Hello, Kelvin Apit. Yes, we are waiting to the application build. The first time that we are building is a bit taking time. After it's keeping running, we can see in our emulator and can start by doing the stuff. Thank you. Okay, we can do some stuff. Maybe you're running out of the patience until this build, and then we can redo it again. So let's think of the application we want to create first. This is the simple to-do application. What do we need first for our for the to-do application? Obviously, we need to have the options that we can type the title and whatever our list, and each of the item has to have the ability of the check mark to be say it's done or not yet. The simplest stuff. So we are not going to make it complicated. What we have to do, we open our library folder, and I'd like to create a clean structure basically every time I create a new application. So I will usually separate the things and not mix all the files together. Therefore, I am going to create new folder. I call this models table. This I create a new file for our model. This is obviously our to-do model, so we call it to-do. And the class that we have to define, say class, name of the class, to-do. What do we need? We need a title for each item of our to-dos. We call it string title. And then we have to have the ability of check each items. So we create a Boolean, and let's call it is done. Simple as that. Next, we complete our to-do class, and both of them are. I think the is done should not be required by default. We have to call it false. Obviously, when we create new one, it's not done yet. We have to close it. Next, let's create the home screen for our application where we all the list of our to-dos. Simply we call it home screen. Importing material. And this is, let's make it a stateful. So in the short, we say stful stateful, hit the tab, give it the name of the screen, our home screen. So what do we need in this screen is we need a list of the to-dos. So let's first of all, we get our list, say final list of to-dos, right? We call it to-dos for empty array. Let's first And so yes, it automatically recognizes our model that we just created and we import it in this screen. Next, we need a text editor to, as you can see, is autocomplete. This text editor help us to type the titles of each to-dos. And then we need a function for to-do, obviously, to clean up this to-do controller that we created and trim our texts to have the clean strings. So we say add to do, and then we say if controller, if to do controller, yeah, is out of it. It's not empty, set state, and to do. I think no, we don't need to set this. Add to do controller trim. Let me double check this one. If to do is not empty, I don't think so. Okay, if it's not empty, okay. And then set to do controller text trim. Yeah, let's clean up our, in case there is extra additional characters in our strings, it will clean it up. And then we clear the to-do controller. And eventually we have to close our void. Okay, and then we need another function to delete to-dos. Void delete to-do here, and then we say obviously, yeah, if to-do controller that text that string is empty, then we return. So if the string is empty, there is no title, it's just empty file. We cannot delete anything that doesn't exist. Therefore, we are not ending up with getting errors. But in case there is, we say set a state, remove where the to do. I think we should, yeah, remove at or where. We can use where or we can use at for the shorter. If you want to make it shorter, we say to do, remove at, and we can pass the index. We say index. In that case, we have to pass the index in here. We say integer index to do's. And we do not need this one. Remove at is not defined. Okay. Oh yes. In case there is a list, index does not have it. Okay. Remove where, we can do remove where. The title is equal to the title that we pass. Instead of index, we are actually passing the string itself. There is no issue in that. And then we need another one to check each item as marked as completed. To do that, we create another void. We say toggle to do, and in here we pass the index. Say set a state to do's. Yes, to do's index is done, and we say do the opposite. So if it's already checked, it will make it unchecked, and if it is unchecked, it will make it checked. So whatever the status of the is done boolean that we created in our model is, this will do that the opposite way. Now, after all our functions are ready, the final step is to create the actual list itself. Sorry. Let's return scaffold, and then for the scaffold we create app bar, and we give it a title, app to do, put it in the center. This B has to be capital. And then we need body for our scaffold. For this body, we create a column to show our list. The column is, let's give it a padding a little bit. 16 is okay, and we need the children to show all the lists. Actually, the column does not get padding unless we put the padding inside one of our children. So let's see if we create padding with the row or list. Yeah, let's create a simple input field. So we say padding, and then we give it this padding that we had before. As a child, let's give it a row, make inline. And then the row has children. Children of this row will be one expanded. Later I will explain what is the expanded widget. And then it needs child. We do text field. Okay. The text field, we use the controller that we created above, the to-do controller, and then we can give it any style or hint text as you wish. If you want, for example, let's give it some border. Say border, outline border, and that's it. And then what is error with this one? Expand it. Let's give a little bit space. 10 is okay. And then we need a button to save that. Elevated button. And for this elevated button, we have a function of when the button is pressed, what should it do? Let's we have to have the add to do. Remember we created add to do. So we say unpress add to do, or if you want to make this one shorter, all you have to do, you say unpress add to do. That's it. For the child, we create a text. We say simply yes add. This will be our text. And then we need right now, okay, after this padding that we created, we need to show the actual list. So below this one, we create another expand list. This expanded will fulfill the rest of the screen that is not in the use. Expanded child. For the child, we'll make list view builder, and then items count. We need item count. How many items is in this list? So we do the dynamic one, to do's the length, and the actual builder. We say item builder. Yes. We need the context of this screen, and we need the index. The index, if you remember, we used to have the removing the items. Now we need to return, because we are using the list view, we are returning list style. That is another widget of the Flutter. List style. Let's give it a leading. Leading is the icon or the text that is always at the first of your item, regardless of the language of your software, your application. If it's RTL or LTR, this will be always at the beginning. So right now our application is in English, it will be in the left side. The leading, we make the checkbox. The checkbox need value, need unchanged, and for the value we say to do that is done. I think it is a okay. Let's here first define our to do, so we don't have to add index in here. If we don't define it, we have always to do this. Okay, we have to say to do's index. But to clean up our code, we say now to do is equal to do index. Therefore, in everywhere we can just simply say to do and use the variable that exists in our class. For the unchanged, we use the toggle index. Toggle index, the toggle was function that we created before, as I explained it before. Whatever the status is checked or unchecked, it will do the opposite way. And then for the change, okay, that's unchanged. Why we have to? And then what do we need? Okay, let's have title. For the title, we use text widget. We say to do title. If you would like to give it some style, you define the style, text style, because this is text widget. And then you give it some decoration, like you can have the underline or not underline, cross line, or different coloring, font size, and here will be the design of that text. And then for the let's add trailing as well. For trailing, we do icon button to delete the to do. Say icon button, we give it the icon, delete, and the unpress is deletes to do. These are all auto-filled because we define them at the beginning. I think we should be good to go. Let's refresh our application and see the difference. Give it some time to compile. Okay, I forgot to change the main screen. Let's, before do that, we go back to our main page. This main screen, we can define our structure of our application. Let's remove everything in here and clear it up, so we don't need all of this default. All we need actually is this one. For the home, we created the home screen. Therefore, let's load that home screen in here. Say home screen, and that's it. So right now, if we refresh, our application main page will be the main home screen that we created. Okay, so this is our the page that we just created. Our home screen have input because our list is empty, there is nothing, so we see it only white. We can add the new items. Let's say first thing to do. Sorry, there is a delay between my screen and my keyboard in here. Everything typing twice. Let's first to do item. We hit the add button, and this is in our list. We can mark it as done, and you see there is a cross line on it. We can uncheck it, or we can remove it. Then we can have another item, so say item 2. I think we forgot to pass the index. We do have index. Let's see why the remove button does not work. Delete to do index. Actually, we are passing. We do not need to pass the index. We need to pass the to do. To do. We say to do. I think dash or to do's were to do that. Yeah. Let's refresh again. Okay, and in the bottom we have here, we have to pass the to do actually. If we refresh, let's see. The removing, so I am passing the to do where to do the delete controller. Okay. The good thing about the life that everyone can make mistake. Remove to do. Let's say the title is controller. We do not need the controller text. Where to do equal title. Okay. Now should done. I think we need to remove ads in order to make the index. To do's remove add to do. We can remove to do. In order to clear the list. Remove if we say that. Then we need the index. Int index. Can remove this one. Yeah. We pass the index. Let's reload our list. Still building up. Sometimes hot restart is taking time. Okay. Now we have clear list. We say item 1. Okay. keep playing now. My emulator keeps giving error. I guess during live everything is possible. And then if we remove, let's close the application. And we run it again. So okay, let's we have done so far until the application is rebuilding again, because my emulator is starting playing games. So for that, so first thing we created a clean application from Android Studio, the Flutter application, and then we created our model. The model is basically telling us what our items are included. So obviously for this simple one, we have only the title and is done check. Is it done or not yet? And then we created the screen. In the screen, we created our to-do list, the empty list. We called upon our model that we just created here. And then we create a to-do controller, the text controller that we use in our input in order to pass the string that we are putting in input and insert it inside this to this. Then we created a new function for adding to inside the list. This we say if the controller text that from our input is not empty, then try to add that text inside our list, and then clear out the input field. Sorry. After that, we create another function for deleting the each item from the list that we have. We said if I think this is the wrong part, that's why it delete. Okay. So to delete, we get the index of the item that is inside our list. Is item number 1, is not item number 1000, or whatever the position of the item inside our list is. We pass that position as an integer, and then we say from the list, find that position and remove it. And then we create another function for the toggle the checkbox that if the item is already completed or not yet. The same thing as a delete, we pass the index, the integer number, and we say find that item, that specific item from the list, and mark it as done. But we didn't say, if we want to say just mark it as a done, we say true, okay? And that would be an issue. Why? Because in case the item is already checked as done, and we just pass again, we say done, 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 nothing will change. So what we did, we actually say whatever this item, the value of is done is either is true or false, because it was Boolean, right? So it's either true or false. Whatever it is, you do the opposite one. So if it's already checked, you uncheck it. If it's not checked, you check it. And all of that happens because of this explanation part. And then we create our actual list, the screen. What we did here, it all is loaded. So we create the app bar, we give it the title, to do app, and then we say put it in the center. Then we created a column. In this column, we put two different sections. The first section, we give it some padding, some space from left, right, top, down, and then we give it a text field. This text field we put in the expanded widget to take out the majority of the space. And then we introduce our controller that we create above inside here, that anything we put here it will be the value of this controller. Then we created another button. We say just add. When hit it, this add to do will call the function above that we just created and insert the text inside our list. The second part of this column, it was a list builder. that is going to show all our to-dos. Then we created a list style for each item. The leading part, we say let's it to be check mark, that we can check or uncheck each item. The text of each item, it will be in the center, and at the end of the tile there will be a trailing for deleting the item from the list. Now our list is done. Let's add some items. Item 1, item 2, and so on and so on. As you can see, the leading is this checkbox. The title is whatever we put, and the trailing is our deleting item. So we can check each item, uncheck it, check, uncheck, or we can remove it. I think still our remove has issues. Yeah, still does not remove it from our list. Delete to do, remove at index. Okay. Okay, this one I have to see why is that, because it's a strange to me as well. But just to debug it, let's put debug in here and we see in the console. So this is another good thing to learn as a newbie, that you can see debug each step of your work. You just simply say debug print, and whatever you put in here, it will show you in your console. Let's say we are trying to deleting to do at the index. Let's see if we are passing the index correctly. Because we have only 2 items, we either have to get index 0 or index 1, depending on which one we are hitting. So let's see. We are deleting index 1. It's correct. To-dos remove. To-dos remove at index. Let's see. After set a state, let's see our to-dos, or let's get the length of our to-dos. We say to-dos length. We do the same before. So first we get how many items we have. We're trying to delete which one and see if it did it or not. Oh, now it's refreshed. Let's rebuild it. Okay, we add item number 2. Okay, let's start. The whole list is getting empty. 1, 2. Then we can check, uncheck, and let's see in the console that we get these prints. Okay, we have to-dos 2 at the first, then we're deleting the to-dos number 1, and the final result was 1. So one of them still remains. Therefore, our delete option is working as well. Now let's little bit make it some small designs. For this trash icon, let's for instance we make it a red color. So we simply just say colors red. This how to fit sometimes, and we have it as red. Yeah, and then for instance, what else should we do? Check. Let's see if checkbox has filling color. Okay, let's add some filling color. You say colors instead of the default color. Let's say green. I think it should not yeah, property colors. Let's say color. If filling color, it should be property of the color. It's correct. Widget state property. Team data. Color scheme or team data. Okay. We say team data dot dark team dot office dot color scheme dot, let's say, secondary. Do we have color? Okay. Filling color. Material color is blue. State property. It's okay in the new widgets. So let's hot reload. Now it's become blue. Oh, yeah. And we can change it to something else if we want. Okay. So I guess for this first live, it's enough until here. In the next live, we are going to actually storing all this data inside the local storage. So every time we open the application or refresh the application, our data, our list will not be lost, because as you can see right now, if I do the hot refresh, this item will no longer be existing. Same. Sorry, we got a little bit issue. Suddenly, my studio is crashed. I'm not sure why this happened, but I guess everything in life is possible. So yeah, as I was saying, I think for this live is enough until here. In the next live, we are going to store data inside the storage. Therefore, we are not losing our data every time we close the application and open it again. So just make sure to follow my channel here and stay tuned for the next live notification that you will receive to continue this one. If you have any question, feel free to ask. I'm here a couple more minutes to answer all your questions as much as I can. And once again, thank you for being with me during this live. Any question, feel free to ask. If not, we can end this live and see you in the next live. Don't forget to follow and stay tuned for the next live. Thank you for being with me. Thank you.